Hello and welcome to the Slapshot Syndicate podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and whilst you're at it, go and follow our social media pages. They're on screen now. Now, on to the episode.
Hello everyone, so today we're joined by one of the breakout stars of the NIHL National Division this season, Shaun Miller. As part of our mini-series for the post-season, we're doing an episode of each team, and we thought who better to get on for the Romford Raiders than Shaun Miller. So, arriving from the land of Crosby and McKinnon, Shaun racked up an incredible 42 goals and 56 assists in just 46 games in his first year in British ice hockey, and played a massive role in the Romford Raiders reaching the cup final. Tonight, we'll dive into that cup run, the heartbreak of narrowly missing out on Coventry, what it's been like adjusting to the UK game, and who knows, maybe a hint about what's next. So, first off, Shaun, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to do it. I know the scheduling was a bit of a jip jump for me, so I'm happy to finally get on and have a talk with you guys.
Yeah, it's obviously massive for us. So, we're really loving the interviews at the moment, and I'm sure this will catch a few eyes. So, again, for the podcast, it's massive. So, we really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to reflect on a standout season. So, first off, congratulations on an absolutely phenomenal debut season.
Thank you.
When you look back on everything that you and the Raiders achieved this season, how would you sum it up?
You know what? I think for myself, obviously it was my first year coming over to England to play ice hockey, and obviously there was a lot of unknowns for myself coming over to the league, and I think as a team as well. I mean, the state of the team the summer before, for the fans, for the people involved, for the players who were on prior teams, there was a lot of unknowns and uncertainty that came with the situation that we were all given. I thought that as a group, and combined with the volunteers, the directors, and the coaching staff, pretty much everybody involved with the organization, just to be able to place a team on the ice that was able to compete and put a good atmosphere together in the Sapphire was a successful season for us. I know obviously there's different ways to deem success, looking at the top end teams who are really established and have a little bit more dollars than we do, but for us, a successful season this year was to put a good team on the ice and run the events accordingly. So I think we did that, and I think at one point of the season we were surprising some folks with our play as well.
Absolutely, and to be honest, the next thing I wanted to touch on was sort of the fact that it wasn't that straightforward. In regards to the start of the season, definitely there was a lot of uncertainty at the start of the season with the takeover and things like that, and then putting together the squad at speed. I think the Raiders were, one of the last teams in the league to sort of compile a full squad. So, do you think there was added pressure on you guys coming into the season?
You know what? I really don't think that there was any added pressure. I think if you take a look back, I think all the pressure was placed on the directors who decided on day one that they were going to get a team back together in Romford. I think the pressure was placed on them to be able to field the team, and you can field the team, but to field the team in a short period of time with a bunch of uncertainty, and also there's a lot more stuff to deal with than just the 20 hockey players that you put on the ice. There's all the other added pressures of deals with equipment manufacturers and pretty much everything under the sun. So the pressure was put onto them. I mean, us as hockey players is pretty simple for us. It's our job to show up to the rink every day, give our best, learn and compete, and give what the coaches want from us. So I think we were able to avoid the extra pressure, but the extra pressure was put on the people on the outside of the glass.
Well, I want to sort of speak about that. So you guys were sort of one of the last teams to sort of come together as a whole. Did it take long for the boys to get used to playing with each other? And do you think that Adam had a big part in that? Or do you think it was natural, or do you think that Adam wanted to instill something in the team, and was that how did it feel playing for Adam?
Yeah, I think the beauty of it was that we were a newly assembled team under a new ownership group, different technical name and some different things, but there's also some familiarity in the organization where it's not the first time that this group's been assembled. So there was a lot of guys on the team who were former players of the Romford Raiders, just under a different ownership group. So a lot of them were already pretty close, and whether they've played hockey growing up together through the England Ice Hockey Association or whatever else, there was some familiarity. There's some new guys who came in, like myself and Andrew Schufelt, and I know we had a few other guys come in for their first years with Nixon, and I'm probably missing 5 guys, but I think the core group of those guys who have been playing together for some period of time made it so easy for us to just walk into that organization. And whether it was new or wasn't, it didn't feel new at any point in the year. It always was presented to the players as a perfect structure. This is what we're going to do. Your guys' job is to go out and play hockey. And I think that our coaching staff did a great job. I mean, for Adam in his first year, obviously he's a high level player and very talented individual. For him to be able to come into his first year as a player coach, assemble a team on a short period of time, and get the most out of those guys within the given year is a pretty impressive task. And I think that we all had a pretty successful year on the ice, but we also had a great year off the ice with each other, and I think we all enjoyed each other's presence.
I mean, you couldn't be more right in that respect. I mean, the team really turned heads, didn't they? And you mentioned about the off ice. So what made this group of players so special? Like, how was that chemistry sort of there from the off? You know, I mean, again, you've touched on the off ice stuff, and it definitely presented on the ice because, like you say, every week you were giving teams good games and things like that. So how was that sort of manifested?
Yeah, you know what, I for me, and I know I can only imagine that it's like this for other imported players in the league, that ice hockey is quite a bit different in England, and the pressures of performing and kind of all the added outside pressures from coaches and general managers and everything else isn't there. So the ability for the team to just be able to come to the rink, obviously your job is to perform, but also have some fun there, which is new and refreshing. It seems like hockey hasn't been a fun thing to do, or you're there to have fun for a long time for me. But the guys that were in that room, like you talk about the core guys with like Jake Sylvester and Jack Cooper, and then TJ Anderson and Dewey and Ralphie and all those guys, Ethan James, and I'm missing a few, and I'm sorry to the boys, but those guys are so like closely knit, and they understand how to bring people in and make them feel comfortable in the room, and it's day one, they're shooting the shit with the guy next to them, whether they've known him for 20 years or whether they've known him for 5 minutes. So I give all props to those guys for making it such an enjoyable time, and obviously being on the bus, like any team, is entertaining in itself. I wouldn't say that I'm the biggest talker on the bus. I'm more of a sleeper, but just sitting there and listening to and chiming in a little bit with those guys is so entertaining.
I bet there's some stories there, isn't there?
Yeah, they're incredible. There's not a whole lot of times where you go to the rink or get together as a team where somebody's not doing something outrageous or making the whole team laugh. So I don't know. It was so much fun to play there.
I think we'll save those stories for another time, though. I don't know whether we want to get cancelled as soon as we've started.
Yeah, the After Dark podcast.
Was there a particular point in the season then when you felt like it clicked for you personally, going back to you, you know, when you thought, yeah, I've really got grips on this league, or is that a big testament to the players around you as well?
You know what's, I mean, it might be a crazy statement, but to me, I never really felt like I hit. There was points in the season where, yes, I was having success. I'd have some good games, but I never felt like I had a long period of time where I was consistently playing my best hockey. And I still, leaving the season, wondered if I had a period of time where I was giving everything that I could possibly give. Obviously, effort-wise, I was, but was it showing up on the ice? And I think that there was good stretches, but bit of uncertainty there. But with those things aside, I think that obviously during the cup run up to the cup finals, I think our team in general, and obviously we're talking about my personal success, I thought it was pretty good throughout that stretch of hockey.
Definitely, and actually I want to move on to the cup final, but before that, I'm interested to know from the offset of the season, what was the belief around the group? Was there a belief that you could push on for cup success, or and I imagine obviously that the playoffs was the aim to sort of raise to make the playoffs, which obviously you did. But was there a belief as well that you could push for some silverware?
Yeah, I think obviously as soon as everything was behind us and we fielded a team, we began playing preseason games and got into the regular season schedule, and we had early success. I think obviously immediately we started to believe that we had an opportunity, maybe not to win the league or whatever it was, but I think we had chances to make ripples, and I think us going to the cup final was something that not very many people around us expected, and I don't think anybody in the league would have expected it. So I think there was the good part of the season in that area. I think we had a bit of a slower second half, but there was never a lack of belief in ourselves, and we kind of showed that throughout the cup final charge.
So going on to the cup final, then let's talk about that incredible cup run. What do you remember most about the journey to the final? Obviously, the way in which we sort of do it is a little bit different. In our league, there's like sort of league games that attribute to sort of the cup and the league, and then you've got single cup games and league games. But did you feel like when there was a cup game going on, you thought, was the lads aware of where they were in the cup and thinking, we've got a real good opportunity here, or how did that feel? Is there anything you remember in particular that you sort of remember on that journey to the final?
Yeah, so honestly, if I'm being fully transparent with you, so at the start of the season, I'm getting adjusted to everything to do with British ice hockey. The difference is I know I took a penalty on my first. I take 2 faceoffs all year, and I took a penalty on 1 for delay game. So I was just getting adjusted for what I was doing over there. And then we were into these cup games, and people were saying, yeah, this is a cup game. And I'm looking on the regular season schedule. I'm thinking, like, what are we talking about? A cup game? I had no clue. I think I probably played 7 or 8 cup games until I realized, like, okay, these points are going towards something that actually matters. I mean, you hear about in-season tournaments over here in North America, and yeah, they're big, or they matter, and you get a trophy at the end of it. But everybody wants to win the league. Everybody wants to win the end of the playoffs. Everybody wants to win the trophy at the end of the year, and that's what we care about. That's it. So it took me a while to kind of grasp and understand that, okay, this cup and what we're playing these games for does actually matter, and these guys actually do have passion in trying to go there and win. And for Leeds, it was a big win and a successful point of their season. So it took me a while to wrap my head around what we were actually doing and why it mattered. But obviously, once I got to the point and to the understanding that, okay, this is something that is big, and the fans care about it, the players care about it, the coaches care about it. Okay, now I care about it now. So when we got a few games outside of the cutoff line, it was really a push and like kind of a realization where this is something special we could do as a team, and if we could do it this early in the season after the stuff that the organization's been through, it'd be really, really special to give ourselves, but also give back to the fans, give back to the people who make the organizations go around.
I don't think you could have hit the nail better on the head, to be honest. And after all that, like, I can imagine as a fan, like, how special that was. I'm a Hull Seahawks fan, and so are the other lads. And when we made it to the cup final last year, we went to both legs. Obviously, went to the MK, and there was just such a special feel on the way to the final. And again, even with the uncertainty at the start of the season, like, what a fantastic way to sort of end that journey. I know obviously it didn't go your way, and we'll touch on that, but I bet that means so much to the fans. And again, you speak about the other established teams in the league and the money and all those different factors, and we'll touch again on the Raiders and their respective season. You had quite a few obstacles as well, this season. So to get to where you were in the cup final, I mean, again, it must have been so special for the fans.
Yeah, it was. I think so, and we seen an immense amount of support from the fans and from the people around Romford. Given that time, obviously, we had a sold out rink for a couple games, and that's something that we can wipe under the table. But also when we're looking at the organization and the past and where it was at, having that rink sold out is something special to everybody in that rink, and the fans who have continuously supported that team over and over and over again from year after year. Seeing new fans coming into that rink and new excitement being generated from the team is exciting for us and for everybody else around us. So I think also the other thing was that I questioned whether the cup was an important thing and whether I liked the idea of having this mid-season tournament. But when I came down to it at the end of the season, I had time to reflect, and I think being able to have 3 different times where a team meets the peak of their season. So you have a cup team win the cup final, and then you get a champion of the league, and then you get a Coventry final. I think it's great that the league sorts it out that way, where it's not just one team has one championship and everybody gets to celebrate one success. There's 3 and it's spread out. And obviously Leeds got 2 of them, but it gives opportunity for other teams to kind of recoup on their season. So if MK or one of these other top teams didn't make it to the cup final, they had their chance to come back and deem their season as a successful one. So at the start of the season, I questioned it a lot, but I think it's a great format. And to be honest, I think it's something that leagues over here could take into account.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you might have to speak to a couple of American leagues and say the Brits are doing it better. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm done talking to the American leagues.
So I mean, we're still on the cup final. The final got off to such a great start, didn't it? Well, how was that feeling after the first leg?
Yeah, I mean, it was electric in our building. We had a lot of jump. I mean, Leeds is a great hockey team. So systematically good. Like they're never out of position. They always get guys on top of the puck. Defensively, they don't really give you anything. And then when you do get something, you got to beat the best goalie in the league, which is another unfortunate one. So they were great. I think we really pushed in that first game, and I think the fans behind us helped us out in a little bit of adrenaline, and then headed up to Leeds, and unfortunately we didn't get that one. But I mean, like we talked about, getting there was a success. We would have liked to claim the cup, but I think the journey and the process to getting there was a success for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you've just mentioned, unfortunately, it didn't go your way. But again, getting there was a massive achievement. And how did the group handle that following the cup? Were they more proud of themselves? Obviously, I imagine there'll have been a bit of disappointment around the dressing room, obviously.
I think early on, so like we're talking right after the game, day after the game, or whatever it is, when it's still early and it sets in. I mean, we're there to win, right? And we were devastated. Everybody in the room was devastated. But as the season progresses on and that moves behind you, you take a look back at it and you think, yeah, it was a good run. There's a lot of good hockey teams and a lot of talented individuals in this league. And for our collective group in this dressing room to be able to make a push to get to where we were was something that we took home and we were proud of. Obviously, we weren't satisfied with it, but we were definitely proud of it.
Yeah. And in regards to you guys reaching the final, with no disrespect, how do you feel like that the experience of playing in the final sets a standard for the team, and it also shows to the other teams in the league that not anybody can get there, because I feel like that isn't what I'm trying to say, but like you guys did so amazing this season. Is that something that you feel like every team should aspire for?
Yeah, I think there's no hiding it. Just like you said, I mean, anybody could get there. There's no hiding that there's teams in this league who are more dominant. It's just like any other league. There's teams in our league that have the funding, have the players, have the opportunity to get good players all the time and have high level competing teams. But it doesn't matter from the top of our league to the bottom of our league. Everybody can beat everybody on any given night, and we've seen it all season long. And towards the end, we've seen it even more with the Bees pushing forward and getting some big wins, and everybody kind of mix matching. So there's no secret that there's some better teams in this league, and they continue to turn over good teams and sign good players, and also have good players returning consistently. But that doesn't mean that the teams that are deemed as bottom seed teams aren't strong and can't show kind of a good push in certain areas of the game.
Definitely. So, I mean, I'm really excited to sort of move on to your sort of individual success. I know we've spoken about the Raiders and, how fantastic the cup run was. And again, we'll touch a little bit later on their individual season. But I do want to sort of speak about your success in a new league. So 42 goals and 56 assists. That's some serious production, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good. It was good for a bit. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would have liked to get a few more, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's the nature of playing hockey. Is whatever success you have, you always look forward and look back and think, "Damn, I could have done this. I could have done that. This is one that could have went." Or, if I would have done this earlier in the season, I could have capitalized a few more times. But that's the nature of hockey. So I was pretty happy with the season. Definitely not satisfied, but I was happy with it.
I mean, the fact that you're saying that you're not satisfied is bewildering, because I know that there's a hell of a lot of teams that would love an import that's put that amount of numbers up.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not sure, you mentioned earlier that you've watched a couple of podcasts, which obviously we really appreciate. We really appreciate it, sorry. Sam Gospel, who was statistically the best netminder in the league, he name dropped you as a player that he thought was really impressive. Tyler Plews from Swindon also mentioned that you were really impressive.
Yeah.
What do you think sort of allowed you to be so effective? Well, from our perspective, in your first season in the UK.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just. I mean, I think naturally I've got a bit of talent to play hockey, but I also just have a hunger. Like I can not a lover of talk about myself, but I have some skills and I can shoot and I can skate. But then the other side of me is just I go out and I work hard and away from the rink I work hard. And when I show up to practices, I put in the work, 45, 60 minutes, and I get off the ice and take care of my business. And I think that that has developed over a long period of time for myself, and played a lot of serious hockey in my life. And that is kind of something that I've taken away from it. And I think that attitude also for myself translates from the hockey rink into my personal life as well. And I think that's just kind of how I'm built, is just a bit of an intense, maybe a bit half psycho guy, but I love doing it, and it helps me out. So I think that's what helps me find most success on the ice, is just trying to outwork guys.
And I mean, I think that is a testament to you as well. I mean, you mentioned about the serious leagues that you've come from. You've come from obviously U Sports and the ECHL. Is that correct?
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
Some amazing leagues. The ECHL, if I'm correct in my hockey knowledge, is one of the feeders to the NHL and the OHL. Or is that correct?
Yeah. So it's a feeder into the NHL. I didn't spend a serious amount of time there. I had some kind of a toss up with my education and finishing my degree in university, and then a trade that sent me from Cincinnati to Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it was kind of a decision on my future, on whether this was the best thing for me to do, whether I was enjoying it enough to sacrifice my education or not. And I decided that it wasn't something that I want to continuously do and sacrifice my education for. So I decided to go back home. And that's when I decided at the start of the summer was I'm gonna start beginning to look for a team or a situation where I could play hockey overseas. And I'm so damn grateful that I found Romford and this league. I think it's provides players with, and especially imported players, it provides us with such a great balance between hockey and being able to explore and live life a little bit while over there. So I'm so grateful to be able to find it.
That's amazing, and I think that's an insight that not a lot of people get, especially on our side as fans, and that's so interesting. But again, I wanted to sort of touch on the fact that you have come from those leagues, and really, really high level, and obviously coming from that to the UK. Do you feel like? I mean, I don't want to compare our league to that sort of caliber, but was there any sort of adapting that you had to make, or did it take you much time to find your rhythm? I mean, again, I think you've been quite humble in this podcast, but you did put some good numbers this season.
Yeah, I think there's major trying to adapt is quite difficult. I think you see imports do well and have a lot of success, and I think that's the way that it works, is that they're coming over and they're able to adapt because they're comfortable, and the organizations give them some freedom to play kind of their game also alongside with the systems, but also give them some freedom to go out and produce at a high level. So there was some adaptation to the one that really messed me up was obviously, so the other teams that I've played for, none of the guys are working. All of our jobs is ice hockey. So there's an immense amount of pressure on you to perform, and if you don't perform, there's a guy sitting below you on a team who's waiting to come up to you, or there's a guy in a line below you trying to chew your ankles off to get up into your spot in the lineup. So it was a little bit different. And where I was going, I'm just talking my brain off now. The practicing at nighttime because all the guys were working throughout the day was a major change for me because I practiced at 8 or 7 a.m. through the last 15 years. So
Yeah.
trying to reset my body where my sleep schedule was to wake up early and go to bed early. Now it's kind of the opposite. I'm trying to sleep in a little bit more. And then when my body was trying to shut down to go to bed at night, now I'm trying to ramp my body up so that I can have a good practice with the team. That was a bit of a change for me, but I mean, throughout the season, I got a bit better of it.
And even things like, you know, after training, looking after yourself, I can't imagine it's just get off the ice, get dressed and go home, go to sleep. You know, there's got to be a lot of like, you know, looking after your body and things like that, you know. And again, if you're on the ice at 8 or 9 o'clock, like I bet that goes into 12, 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, you know what? And that's one thing for myself, and it's like there's a lot of things that this relates to, but I think as an imported player, obviously our job over there is to play hockey, and our job is to, if we practice for 3 or 4 days a week, our job is to show up and perform, and then show up on the weekend and perform. And then you take a step back and you look at the players who you're playing with and the guys who have been there. So I look at Jack Cooper. He's been there for 10 years. He had his testimonial game. He's working all day long, getting home, having a short break if possible, then heading to the rink for a nighttime practice, and then waking back up in the morning and heading to work for the day. And then as soon as that Saturday comes, where a typical person at work would get the weekend off and do what they would like to do and enjoy, kick their feet up or whatever they would like to do. Now he's going back to his second job again for Saturday, Sunday, which could eat up your whole entire weekend, and usually does. So for me, I would complain about the nighttime practices for the first couple of weeks, and then I kind of took a step back and I was like, damn, I have it pretty good right now. I get to wake up in whatever time I really want to, and as long as I get my stuff done and I'm in shape to perform, I'm fine. So I don't have any right in the world to complain about what time we're practicing at.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that I was sort of mind blown by. I've only been watching hockey for around 2.5 years, and it's crazy. The first thing that someone told me was, "Oh yeah, Sam Towner, he's a PE teacher at the school you went to when you was a kid." And I was like, "What?" And again, like you say, you know, these guys are 40, 50-hour weeks, and then they're doing the hockey on the night, but that's without family life or, you know, kids and things like that. So it's crazy, isn't it? But
yeah, I mean, tremendous amount of respect for those guys who make it work. Is I don't know if I would have that in me.
Well, I mean, the imported players are obviously a massive part of our game, and it's going up to an extra one this season, which I think a lot of the reception has been fantastic. But this season we had 3, and you was obviously a pivotal part of the Raiders team. How did you feel in that regard? So was it different in comparison to other teams you'd been at? You know, you were like sort of one of the number one guys, if not the number one guy. How did that feel?
Yeah, I think throughout my career, obviously with growth from league to league, I mean, you look back at times you played where you were a third or fourth line right winger and you were just doing a job to get the job done, and you were waiting for your chance to bump up in lines. And then there was points in my career where I was the number one guy on teams, and it was, if we were going to win games, it was going to have to go through myself or the collective top guys on the team. So I've been in both situations and can relate to people in either of those situations tremendously. But you know what, the idea of coming over in 3 imports, I mean, you have to take a look at numbers alone and understand that if there's only 3, you're going to have to be good, and you're going to have to produce, and you're going to have to show up every game. You can't really take games or weeks off. You can't have bad stretches of hockey. So you come over there with that responsibility in your pocket, and I think they give you nothing but the best opportunity to do that.
And do you feel like you enjoyed that responsibility? Like, does that, for you as a player, do you, obviously it might sound like a silly question, do you prefer to be on the first line and be the main man rather than obviously everybody wants that, but do you think that it pushes you to play better hockey when you have more responsibility on you?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a blessing to have that much opportunity. I think and to be put in that position, there was I mean, a lot of work put in throughout my whole entire life to get this position in my hockey career where I've earned the right to be the guy out on the ice. And I think some days when you make it happen, it feels so good, and that pressure really pays off, and you can go home and take a nice deep breath. And then there's games like we talked about the cup final where it just didn't go in the net, and if I'm the one expected to put the puck in the net or set guys up and it doesn't go that, there's also the other days where you walk home and you think, damn, well, that was on me, and if I would have produced or I would have played my game 2% better, it could have been a different outcome. So I think that the pressure of being one of the upper end guys in a lineup is very good in some situations, and it can be very stressful in other situations, kind of depending week to week and how you're feeling with your own personal game. So I was happy to do it, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Well, it sounds to me like mentality must be a massive part of the game. And we spoke last week to Sam, the week before to Sam about, how he keeps so calm and, focused. And I bet that's the same for you, isn't it? That must be a massive part of the game.
Yeah.
Level-headed that, when you have all this responsibility on you, especially leading up to the cup final,
Yeah.
wow, like, I can't imagine the amount of, sort of concentration and, focus that you must need to maintain.
Yeah, I would say that Sam is definitely probably a bit more level-headed than me, and I think the guys will laugh at this. I think my style is a bit wiry. I'm pretty intense. I mean, I'm no fighter or tough guy or anything, but I'm an intense guy, and I play hard, and my mentality is pretty hard as well. So I would say that for myself, especially if I'm laid back and really relaxed and calm, I'm probably not going to do that much. I'm going to be out there on a Sunday stroll. But if I can get myself amped up a little bit and almost in a kind of a tense atmosphere to myself, I'll play a bit better and I'll produce more. That obviously comes with some rough comments and some yelling at the referees and everything else. And I apologize to anybody I've yelled at if any referees are listening. That's the way that I've played the game and the way that I grew up playing the game. So that's what works best for me, and a bit of a firecracker out there.
I think that's character, and I think for me as a fan, I would definitely have that in my team than someone who's going to fold or not stick up for the mates. I mean,
Yeah.
ice hockey is a sport in general. If you're not there for your teammates, you might as well not even put your skates on.
Yeah. So it's like I said, I'm no fighter, but I'm definitely a firecracker, and a bit of that goes into my brain before the game as well.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about your teammates as well, and the fact that you struck up a hell of a partnership with fellow Canadian Andrew Schufelt. Was he a big factor in helping you to such a big successful season?
Yeah, I think we've fed off each other. Me and Andrew have known each other for a good period of time. Obviously, we're from communities that are very close together and have skated together in the past. And I get a lot of questions, and a lot of people around the league have asked me if we played together before. So here's the answer: is that me and Andrew were in university together. In my first year university, he was in his fourth year university on the same hockey team. But that year was the COVID year, so technically we were on the same team together. But we never actually played games together. So a lot of skating and practicing together, but never actually playing games on a line until we got to England. And obviously, I think that me and him fed well off each other and had a great season. He had a lot of personal success, and I did as well. So I think we worked well together, and I love playing with highly skilled left-handed players. That's my choice. So he was a plus for me.
Well, and he wasn't the only of the Canadian contingent, was he? Obviously, Adam as well, and of course, Reid later on in the last few months. Did it help having a few lads who was in the same boat as you?
Yeah, I think so. So Adam's situation was a little bit different this year. He suffered a few injuries that held him out of lineup for an extended period of time, and was battling with that quite a bit. Obviously, everybody's seen it. He's a fantastic hockey player with the ceiling as high as anybody else's. And then when Reeder came over, it was great. He moved in with me and Andrew, and he's an entertaining guy, super funny, super easy to talk to, and we had some good times together. He's a super talented player, big, and really good on the power play. So he was a treat to get over. It would have been nice to have him around all year, but obviously that's the nature of the league with only 3 imports.
Yeah, I remember seeing Reid on one of the first games he played for Romford, and it was at the Hull Arena, and he looked about 7 foot tall, and his skates, he was a massive one. He was like a fridge.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's powerful, big shot, and yeah, he's a fantastic guy as well. It just makes everything much better.
I want to touch on somebody else as well who I don't think got much plaudits. Well, he might have got plaudits from you guys and from the Raiders fans, but Zach Yokoyama as well. He came in for injury recover, didn't he? Do you have anything to say about Zach?
You know what? I don't have enough good things to say about Zach. He is, first of all, you talk about his hockey game. I think he's super underrated. He's one of the hardest working guys that I've played with. Super talented, obviously skill through the roof. Seems like he's been dealt a rough hand with getting onto teams, but obviously when he came to our organization, he was one of the best players on our team every single game that he was there. And then to add on top of that, arguably one of the best dressing room guys that I've ever met. I don't know anybody who doesn't love the guy. So he was a fantastic addition. And to be honest, it was a bit emotional to see him leave our organization. And I know that he has a child at home and needed to be closer to home and did what was best for his family. But it was also a rough loss for us.
Yeah, and Zach's actually spoke. We've spoke of Zach through the podcast and things like that, and he had nothing but great things to say about you and know the Raiders as an organisation, and hopefully we can see him returning to the NIHL National soon. Do you think that'd be something that is that the level where you think he should be?
I have zero questions in my mind whether it's a level that he should be at. The only question is whether he is ready to make that jump again with his family at home and his current situation. So I don't think his talent or his personality or his work ethic is in question whether he can play in our league. I think it's more of a personal case where he needs to figure out what's best for himself and his family, and that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. So going back to yourself then, was there a particular game or goal in this season that really stood out for you personally? I'm interested to find out.
A particular game?
Or goal or moment where you thought, like, wow, the decision I've made to come over to England, this is the exact reason why.
You know what? I think a lot of I always said to people, we've coming from Canada and playing in the United States, I've played in front of 15, 18,000 fans, and I think the most fun rink for me to score a goal in my whole entire life has been in the Sapphire. It's when it's sold out, it's 1,200 people, and on most nights it's 800. And the reaction from the fans that you get in there, and the pride that they carry to each game, even if it's a nothing game in the middle of November or whatever it is so much fun. So I don't think there's a certain goal. I mean, the one against Leeds in the first game of the Cup final was pretty exciting, and I celebrated pretty hard. But I think a lot of the times scoring in that rink or producing in that rink was so much fun just because of the reaction from the fans, and obviously doing it at home is always better.
I think as well with that, you became sort of a little like a cult hero. I mean, you was the A in your first season as well, weren't you? I mean, again, that just sort of goes into the responsibility that you had as well, which is fantastic. And I want to stress so much, like, you guys came so close to making it for the playoff finals in Coventry. It literally came down to the last weekend, didn't it? Like, how was the lads going into that? Was that like the same as the final, or can you talk through how everyone was feeling there?
Yeah, I think so. The playoffs was decent. I don't think we had our best stuff, and I'll sit here and make an excuse, but every other team's got the same excuse. We had a lot of guys banged up, and the tape balls were pretty large coming out every game there, so we weren't in our best shape physically, and I don't think we had our best games, and we still came close to making it happen. So still another moment that we were proud of, but it's definitely not something we look back on and think we had as much success as we did with regards to the Cup.
How tough was it for the team to process just missing out on that again? It literally went down to the last day, didn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, and it came down to a position where it was kind of out of our hands. And that's not a situation you ever want to put yourself into. And that's the nature of sports is sometimes you get in situations like that, and just seeing it turn away from you without you being able to put your finger on it, is unfortunate and bit of, I mean, tough to process, but, we had another game to play. So we went and played our game on Sunday, and put a bow tie on a really good season and successful season. And, we had some fun after.
Yeah. So after such a strong individual season, does the end of the cup run and the individual season, does that leave you with a bit of unfinished business per se?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, individually and team wise, I think there was some unfinished business, and as a hockey player, you walk away from every season with doubts and regrets, and I mean, you walk away with successful moments and happy moments as well. So it is a good time to process and take everything in, and especially if there's decisions to be made, it's a time where you have some time away from the rink to reflect. And, yeah, I guess there is some unfinished business when you put it that way.
And do you think the team has what it takes to take that next step for next year?
Yeah, I think so. I think, as an organization, we got through the first year. It was a scramble. The directors and everybody else did a fantastic job to get us through and give us the best opportunity we could. But, I think this year going forward, the expectations are set higher, from ourselves, from our standpoint, and from everybody else around us standpoint. So I think anything lower than what we did last year is going to be a failure of a year. And, I think the Romford Raiders are expected to do well.
Yeah, definitely. I think, looking around the league so far, there's not been any team sort of where you're like, oh, they're not really doing well. It just seems like every week there's another signing, or the amount of elite league players who've dropped down into our league, and now with the extra sort of import, it just makes it such an exciting time to sort of be a fan of the NIHL National, and obviously Romford are a part of that too. Do you? So I'm going to move on to sort of the future now, softly.
Yeah.
And obviously you've made a big impression in your first season here. Have you had a chance to reflect on what's next for you?
Yeah, so I think, I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I've had this conversation with a lot of people, around the rink in Romford, with the fans, with the ownership group, with my teammates. I've also came home and I've had a lot of conversation with my family, with my friends, and, you know, it's a situation where, to be honest, when I was leaving, home last year to go over to England, I said that I was going to play for one more year, and I always say that the worst thing that ever happened was I had a fantastic season. I had so much fun. The organization was great. I loved the place I was living, and now it's putting me into a situation where I have to make a decision on whether I'm going to go back or not. And obviously, that's undecided in my life right now. Obviously, I hope to be back, and we'll see where that is and in what situation that looks like. But, yeah, still a bit up in the air right now.
And obviously, there must be a lot of eyes on you for the next season. So obviously, out of respect for you and the teams that you might be speaking to, or any other external factors, we won't talk about things like that. But
Yep.
what sort of things are important to you when deciding on your next move? Obviously, you said you spoke to family and things like that. And I think what people have got to realise is as well, we're fine. Us fans, we're 20 minutes from our home. You're
Yeah.
a long way from home. So is that sort of a big important factor for you as well when you decided on your hockey future?
Yeah, I would say that there's a lot of things that, I mean, from the outside looking into an import in that league, is that I mean, yeah, we're there to play hockey and we can play hockey, so why not play? And there's a lot more that goes into it than that. I mean, to begin with, we've been doing this. I mean, for myself, I've been playing hockey since I was 3 or 4 years old, organized. I've gone up through the ranks, and, played all over North America and now across to Europe. And at one point you watch the people who you've played with your whole entire life step away from the game and build careers and build families and buy homes and settle in for their lives. And at one point you take a step back and look at yourself and you think, I really haven't settled into one location, and I've been on the run playing hockey for a long time. Is this something I still want to do? And I think that's not just in the hockey world. That's in sports in general. And people are forced to make tough decisions. And yeah, it comes down to a lot of different items. But obviously, the love for the game is the one thing that you can't take away from most players. And it's the same thing for me. It's something that I absolutely love to do. There's nothing else that I could think that I would have so much fun and so excitement going to my place of work other than the hockey rink. So it makes the decision tough, but I mean, we've got time to make a decision, and that's what we're going to do.
And I think in those last two sentences, you've sort of made people be like, oh, actually, there's still a chance. So, is if that's the route that you decide to pursue, is staying in the NIHL National something that appeals to you after this season?
You know what? To be completely transparent with you, like I said, I've played a lot of hockey and I've done a lot of different things in my life, and it may be time to move on. But the one thing that I will guarantee to anybody watching this is that if I am going to strap my skates on next year, it will be in the NIHL.
Ooh, that's an exclusive.
Yeah. I truly think that it's a great league. It provides the players, and especially imported players, with a great opportunity to have a great balance between life and the rink. The fans are passionate. They care about you as a hockey player, as a human. The coaches care about you as a hockey player, as a human, and the ownership group, especially in Romford, cares about you as hockey as a human. And there's not much more you can ask for as an athlete that's moving abroad to play a sport, rather than just the respect, and people care about how you are doing as a person and as a hockey player. So I love that league, and I was super grateful that I found it.
I mean, I think that that's absolute music to my and every other NHL national fan. And hopefully, obviously, we will be seeing you in the league next season, and that's not any additional pressure or anything like that. But genuinely, it has been a pleasure to watch you in the league this season. And I think on that, I just want to touch again on that last thing that you just said about, for me, prior to ice hockey, I was like a soccer fan, football fan.
Yep.
And, when me, Brad, who also co-hosts the podcast, came to an ice hockey game on the off chance and fell in love with it straight away, we realised how accessible the sport is, and how amazing all the ice hockey players are. It truly is such a unique sport, isn't it? And I know that each year the sport's growing in Britain, but I think it's something that fans can immediately fall in love with because of how you and all the players are with the fans. It's truly unique, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially in a league of our size, where there's not 20,000 people in the stands. There's the ability for people to come and build relationships. And I know that I've built great relationships with fans from the age of 4 years old and until people who are seniors and people's grandparents come into the rink. And I built relationships with everybody in between, whether they're been involved with hockey for 25 years or whether it was their first day watching hockey. And I think that being able to go to a rink and find people and speak to people and hear people's different stories, especially in a country that's not known for hockey, finding people who have found passion for a game that I grew up loving, and they might be 30 years old and it's their first year watching hockey and they absolutely love it. I find nothing cooler than that. So it's a passion of mine and I love sharing it with people. So having the fans being accessible to us and able to come down in the hallway and have a conversation is so much fun for us as well.
Well, Shaun, obviously it's been an amazing fair season for you, and I think it'd only be fair if we sort of lent towards the Raiders fans who have been backing you all season. Do you have any messages for them, or would you like to send a message to them directly, and for the fans who backed you and all the team this year?
Of course. I mean, I the Raiders fans are well aware of how much I love them and how passionate I am about being in that building, and just the support that they showed us throughout the season, but also how they treat us as humans, and seeing them, whether it's at our games or around the rink for practices or with the Minor Hockey Association. Everybody showed me a tremendous amount of respect, and I couldn't be more grateful for the group of people who are tied into the hockey world in Romford. So hopefully I can make a decision soon, and maybe I'll be back there. But as of right now, it's a bit of an unknown.
Yeah, and I think whether you are there or not, I think there'll be a resounding thank you for everything you've done in a Raiders shirt. So finally, as the off season begins, how are you planning to unwind? Obviously, you're back in Canada now. Are you the kind of guy who switches off completely, or are you staying on the ice?
Nope.
You know?
Nope. So I find a bit of a hybrid. So I obviously work full time, and then I will train pretty strongly. So 5 days a week, 6 days a week, I'll train off ice. Obviously, I'll take decent time off the ice, and then probably around start of July, I'll get myself back on the ice. Maybe mid-June, get myself back on the ice and slowly ease my way into it, so that I'm peaking for the start of the season and I'm in good shape. So tie that in with some probably way too much golf, a little bit of basketball, some motocross. I don't know. We play all sports, so I keep myself busy and try to stay in best shape I can.
Love that. And is there any personal goals that you've set yourself next season if you potentially?
You know what? I haven't sat down and written down any goals or thought deeply about goals, because as of right now, it's more about trying to figure out where my path is going to lead me for the next season. So I'm sure once I am able to sit down and really put my brain together and make a decision, I'll be able to write down some goals, whether that's goals for the hockey season coming up or goals for my personal life. But it'll be something I'll do.
I love that. Well, Shaun, I just want to say thank you so much again for joining me on the podcast tonight. It's genuinely been great hearing about your journey and your incredible first season here in the UK. So obviously, for me and Brad and Azza, we just all want to wish you the best for the summer, really, and whether it's in Romford or elsewhere. Obviously, we know that the fans will be excited to see what's next for you. So again, a genuine thank you for being our guest, for being my guest today.
Yeah. Awesome.
Super appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to come on and talk to you, and I wish the other boys were here, but I think we had a good chat anyways.
Absolutely, and who knows, next season if you are back in the national, you'll have to jump back on there.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good.